Memory 1. The outdoor rink where the town became a family. The flood of ice. Glass smooth in the morning. The sound of shovels scraping snow after last night's storm. The rink keeper, usually someone's dad, testing the ice with his boot. The boards covered in painted advertisements. Thompson's Hardware. Chen's Restaurant. Vote Liberal. Vote Conservative. Everyone got a spot because everyone chipped in. Saturday afternoon. The whole town at the rink. The warming shack. Heat blasting from a wood stove. Benches lined with kids lacing skates with frozen fingers. The smell of hot chocolate from a thermos. Share between friends. Hockey sticks taped and retaped until more taped than wood. The rink wasn't just recreation. It was democracy. Rich kids and poor kids, all wearing hand-me-down skates. All equal on the ice. The doctor's son passing to the janitor's daughter. The mayor's kid getting checked into the boards by someone who lived in a trailer. Out here, none of that mattered. Only skating mattered. The older boys playing shinny. No refs. Honor system. Little kids holding the boards, learning to stand, falling, getting up, falling again. Parents watching from cars with engines running, breath fogging windows. And then that moment, the lights came on at dusk, and everything turned magical. The ice glowing. The snow banks catching light. The sound of laughter and sticks clacking, and someone scoring and everyone cheering. You skated until your toes went numb. Until your mom honked the horn. Until you couldn't feel your face but didn't care because this was everything. You didn't schedule ice time. You didn't pay for lessons. You just showed up, and the whole town showed up with you. That rink was where you learned to skate, to share, to be Canadian, on ice that someone flooded at midnight, because that's what you did for your town. Memory, too. The Eaton's catalog, Christmas in 600 pages. The catalog arriving, thick as a phone book, the weight of it in your lap. The smell of fresh ink and glossy paper. November evening, the whole family gathered around. You'd flip to the toy section immediately. Dog-ear pages. Circle items in pen. This was your Christmas list, your wish list, your dream-made paper. The ritual of going through it with siblings, negotiating territory. Boys claiming tools and hockey equipment. Girls studying dolls and easy-bake ovens, though plenty wanted the same hockey skates their brothers circled. The Sears catalog arriving later, spurring fierce loyalty debates. Eaton's families and Sears families, like Leafs fans and Habs fans. Serious business. For kids in cities, it was abundance. For kids in rural Canada, in the territories, in places where stores were hours away, it was connection, proof that the wider world existed, and you could touch it, order it, have it delivered to your door, no matter how remote. Writing letters to Santa with item numbers and page references. Dear Santa, page 47, item C, 342, the red wagon. Your parents smiling, knowing most of it was fantasy, knowing the budget stretched thin already, but letting you dream anyway, because that's what the catalog was for. Dreams. The spring catalog for birthdays. The tools section your dad studied like scripture. The fashion pages your mom examined, mentally calculating if she could make it cheaper herself. The furniture section representing aspirations. Someday, maybe, if things went well. And then 1976. Eden's closed. The catalog stopped coming, and a piece of Canadian identity died with it. That catalog wasn't just shopping. It was proof you mattered. That deliveries reached even the most remote Canadian communities. That you were part of the country. Even when you felt like you were at the edge of the world, the catalog connected us. All of us, from coast to coast to coast. Memory 3, Hockey Night in Canada, the National Gathering, Saturday night, 7:30, the CBC theme song. That opening, you knew it before you could spell your own name. The black and white screen flickering to life. Foster Hewitt's voice. Danny Gallivan's poetry. He shoots, he scores. Echoing through every living room from Victoria to St. John's. It didn't matter if you liked hockey. You watched because everyone watched. Your dad, your grandfather, your uncle visiting from out west. Even your mom knitting in the corner but looking up at every goal. This was a national ritual. The closest thing Canada had to church. The first intermission. Bathroom break. Refill the snacks. Kids on the floor with mini sticks, recreating the plays they'd just seen. Fathers explaining icing and offsides with salt shakers on the coffee table. See, the pepper is the puck. Knowing the players by number, because you couldn't always see the names. Number 4, Bobby, or number 9, Maurice Richard. Though he'd retired, his legend still lived. The Leafs versus the Habs. The eternal rivalry. English and French. Ontario and Quebec. The country's tensions played out on ice. Radio broadcasts reaching places without TV. Northern communities. Remote farms. Fishing villages. The voice crackling through static, but clear enough. Clear enough to follow. Clear enough to feel connected to the rest of Canada, doing exactly the same thing. The second intermission. More analysis. More debate. Your dad arguing with the TV. What's the ref thinking? Your mom bringing sandwiches nobody asked for, but everyone ate. The third period. The tension building. And then the final buzzer. Victory or defeat. Celebrations or groans. And Monday morning, playground debates about Saturday's game. Hockey night wasn't entertainment. It was identity. For 3 hours every Saturday, 10 million Canadians did exactly the same thing. Watched the same game. Cheered the same goals. Groaned at the same penalties. We were a country of vast distances and regional differences. But on Saturday nights, we were one. If you're enjoying this story, please subscribe to support the channel. Memory 4. Victoria Day, the Queen's birthday and firecrackers. The smell of sulfur and gunpowder. Firecrackers in brown paper bags. Sparklers that burned your fingers if you held them too long. The sky not quite dark at 9 o'clock, because this far north may light lingers. The whole town gathering in the park for fireworks. Victoria Day marked the real start of summer. Not the calendar. Not school ending. Victoria Day. When you could finally stay out late, light fires, feel like maybe winter was truly gone. The Queen's birthday celebrated more enthusiastically in Canada than England because it meant summer was coming and we'd survived another winter. Buying fireworks at corner stores. No questions asked. Kids with black cats and jumping jacks. Teenagers with firecrackers they'd throw at each other's feet. Parents with Roman candles and fountains, setting them up in backyards, in parks, wherever there was space and grass. The official town fireworks over the lake. Blankets spread on damp grass, families side by side. Mosquitoes already biting. The smell of bug spray mixing with fresh-cut grass. Someone's transistor radio playing CFRB. Kids running wild while parents talked. And then darkness finally settling and the first rocket screaming into the sky. The collective, oh, when a particularly good one exploded, red and gold. Silver cascading like waterfalls. The grand finale, 20 at once. The sky on fire. The smoke drifting. The smell lingering. The walk home in the dark. Kids carrying spent sparklers like trophies. We don't celebrate Victoria Day like we used to. The Queen matters less. The monarchy feels more ceremonial than real. The fireworks are regulated, controlled, sanitized. But ask anyone from the 60s, and they'll tell you, Victoria Day meant something. It meant we'd made it. Another winter survived. Another summer earned. Time to light some firecrackers and feel alive. Memory 5. The cottage, 2 weeks of unplugged heaven. The drive. Forever. Backseat cramped with siblings and suitcases. No air conditioning. Windows down. Your dad driving. Your mom navigating with a paper map. It's just past Gravenhurst. No, that was Bracebridge. The bickering gentle, familiar, and then that moment, you saw the lake through the trees, the sign for your road. You'd arrived, the smell of cedar and lake water, the screen door with a broken spring that slammed every single time, the creak of wooden dock under bare feet, the cottage, maybe Muskoka, maybe the Laurentians, maybe Okanagan, whichever lake your family managed to reach once a year. 2 weeks. No phone. No TV, Sometimes. Just lake and trees and family and time that stretched like taffy. This was freedom. This was what you worked for all year. City families saving for this. Farmers taking a break. Everyone deserving 2 weeks of nothing. The outhouse. Still, in some places, spiders included. The hand pump for water, your arms aching after filling buckets. Kerosene lamps and candles when the sun went down. No electricity in some cottages. Didn't matter. You didn't need it. Swimming all day until your skin wrinkled permanent. The lake cold enough to steal your breath. Catching frogs and crayfish off the dock. Minnows in buckets you forget to release. Water fights with siblings. Cannonballs off the dock. Marco Polo until your voice went hoarse. Campfires every night. Marshmallows burned black on the outside, raw in the middle. Your dad telling the same stories every year. The one about the bear. The one about when he was a kid at the same lake. Your mom with a sweater wrapped around her shoulders, swatting mosquitoes. Laughing anyway. Your dad fishing at dawn. You'd hear him leave, the screen door slamming, his boots on the dock. Coming back with perch or bass. Cleaning them at the water's edge. Teaching you the knife work. Fresh fish for breakfast. Best thing you'd ever tasted. Card games in the evening. Crazy eights. Go fish. Rummy. Your grandmother cheating. And everyone pretending not to notice. The loon calls at night. Haunting. Perfect. Distinctly Canadian. The sound that meant you were home, even though you were hours from home. No schedule. No plans. Just presence. Just being. Together. The cottage wasn't luxury. Often it was barely functional. Cold water. Lumpy beds. Mice in the walls. But it was heaven, because for 2 weeks, you were untethered from everything except your family and the lake and the particular magic of Canadian summer. Brief and bright, and earned through months of cold. Memory 6. Canada's centennial, the year we felt real. Canada turned 100. And suddenly, everywhere you looked, celebrations. The centennial logo everywhere. On buildings, on coins, on cereal boxes, on everything. Bobby Jimby Cienata, song playing nonstop. 1 little, 2 little, 3 Canadians, we love thee. You couldn't escape it. You didn't want to. The Centennial Train traveling coast to coast. The Confederation Caravan bringing history to your town. Mobile exhibits. Artifacts. Stories. Your school taking a field trip. The whole class crammed into a bus to see where Canada came from. School projects building centennial murals and timelines. Every town building something. A park. An arena. A library. Something permanent to mark the year. The centennial flame on Parliament Hill, lit by Prime Minister Pearson. You watched it on TV, felt the pride swelling. Expo 67 in Montreal. The world coming to us. 60 million visitors. Your parents saving all year to take you. The drive to Montreal feeling like crossing country. The pavilions rising like spaceships. Habitat 67, looking like the future made concrete. You got your passport stamped at each pavilion. Proof you've been somewhere important. Collecting centennial quarters and dollars. The special coins of the goose, the wolf, the rabbit. Hoarding them. Refusing to spend them. Your grandmother giving you a centennial dollar. Making you promise to keep it forever. You still have it, don't you? Teachers making you memorize "O Canada" in French and English. Standing in the gym, hand over heart, singing both verses. The French words clumsy in your mouth, but you tried. The whole country trying. To be bilingual. To be united. To be Canadian. And for the first time, being Canadian felt like something worth celebrating. Not quietly, not apologetically, but loudly, proudly. For once, we weren't just America's neighbor. We were ourselves. Young, possible, proud. Centennial year wasn't just history. It was identity formation. The moment Canada stopped being British and started being Canadian, we were 100 years old. We were brand new, and we were ours. Memory 7, Saturday morning cartoons, the sacred ritual. Waking up before your parents. 6 a.m. The house silent. The TV warming up with that electric hum. The CBC test pattern. Bars of color. The Indian head. You'd stare at it, waiting, knowing. The second it disappeared, the magic started. The friendly giant. Look up, way up. Jerome the giraffe. Rusty the rooster. Sitting in the tiny chairs, looking at the tiny castle. You never questioned why a giant had tiny furniture. You just accepted it. Mr. Dress-Up. Ernie Coombs pulling scissors and construction paper from the tickle trunk. Casey. Finnegan. Making crafts you'd attempt later, with disastrous results. Chez Helene. Learning French from a woman who made it sound musical. Bonjour. Commencier, the Bugs Bunny Road Runner Hour. American imports. But they felt Canadian because everyone watched them together. No on-demand. No streaming. No second chances. If you missed it, it was gone. So you didn't miss it. You were there. Present. Committed. Bowl of cereal. Shred eyes or cornflakes. 2 feet from the screen because the picture was fuzzy and you needed to see. The anxiety when the picture went ecstatic. Leaping up. Adjusting the antenna. Twisting it left. Right. Holding it just so until the image cleared. Your mom calling for breakfast. You pretending not to hear. One more cartoon. Just one more. The transition to American cartoons at 9. The Flintstones. Scooby-Doo. The tone shifting. And finally noon, when cartoons ended and you had to go outside. The sadness of it ending. The anticipation of next Saturday. Saturday mornings weren't just TV. They were a shared national experience. Synchronous. Communal. Every Canadian kid watching the same programs, learning the same songs, getting the same cultural education. We didn't know it then, but we were being shaped, made Canadian, one cartoon at a time. Memory 8, the corner store where everyone knew your name. The bell above the door. Ding. The smell of penny candy and floor wax and something else. Something you couldn't name but recognized instantly as childhood. The owner behind the counter. Mr. Patterson. Mrs. Chun. Someone who knew your family 3 generations back. The comic book rack. Archie. Superman. The occasional Mad magazine you weren't supposed to read. The glass jars of candy. Jawbreakers. Licorice whips. Those weird pink wintergreen lozenges your grandmother loved. Pointing at what you wanted. The owner scooping them into a small paper bag. Counting them out. 1, 2, 3. Making sure you got exactly what you paid for. The cooler with glass bottle pop. Orange Crush. Cream soda. Root beer. The weight of the bottle in your hand. The deposit you returned for 2 cents. Every penny mattered. Hockey cards and wax paper. 5 cents a pack. The smell of stale gum. Hoping for your favorite player. Dave Kean. Gene Beliveau. Bobby Hull. It wasn't 7-Eleven. It wasn't Max. It was personal. The owner knew if your grandmother was sick. If your dad lost his job. If you were short a nickel, they'd wave it away. Bring it Monday because they trusted you. And you didn't want to disappoint them. So you brought it Monday. Always. The on-account system. Your mom sending you with a list. Bread, milk, eggs. Put on account. The owner writing it in a ledger. Your family settling up on Friday when your dad got paid. No interest. No late fees. Just trust. The conversations between neighbors who met there. The gossip. The news. Who got engaged. Who had a baby. Who was sick. The corner store was the neighborhood's living room, where a community happened, where you learned that business could be personal, that commerce could have a heart. And then one day, the corner store closed. A chain moved in. Bright lights. Scanners. Aisles of everything. No one who knew your name. No one who cared if your grandmother was sick. You could be anonymous. And somehow, that felt like losing something important. The corner store wasn't just commerce. It was connection. And when it closed, when they all closed, we lost something we didn't know how to rebuild. Memory 9, the party line, when privacy was optional. Picking up the phone to make a call. But first, listening. because your neighbor might be using the line. Party lines, shared telephone connections. You'd hear Mrs. Henderson talking to her sister about someone's daughter who married too young, or Mr. Kowalski arguing with his brother about money, voices rising and falling. And you'd wait, because those were the rules. Unspoken but absolute. You waited your turn. You kept calls short. And if there was an emergency, everyone hung up. No questions. No arguments. Just immediate cooperation born of necessity. The rotary dial, taking forever. Click, click, click. As it spun back, your mom whispering, "Someone's listening." When conversations got personal, learning to recognize the click of someone else picking up mid-sentence. The awkward silence when you realize you've been caught eavesdropping. Teenage phone calls kept impossibly brief. "Hi, can you talk?" "No." "Okay, bye." Because 3 other families shared the line, and someone always needed it. The relief when you finally got your own line. Private, personal, yours alone. Freedom, but also the loss, the accidental community. Knowing your neighbor's business, whether you wanted to or not. The forced patience, the mandatory sharing. You learned to wait, to take turns, to exist in each other's lives, whether it was convenient or not. It was invasive. It was awkward. And yet it worked because people were courteous. Mostly, there were rules and people followed them. Because breaking the rules meant everyone suffered. So you cooperated. You shared. You made it work. We complain about privacy now, about data breaches and surveillance, about everyone knowing our business. But we survived party lines. We learned to share, to wait, to exist in each other's lives. And maybe we lost something when we got our private lines. The forced intimacy, the mandatory community, the reminder that we were all in this together.